Now, in front of me, we've got the action continuing, and it'll be fascinating to see how this all works out today. There's still a lot of cricket left. James Anderson's going to bowl the first over, not from the end that I thought he would. I thought he'd bowl from his own end, actually, and not just because he's got his name on it, but also because of the way the wind is blowing, which is from left to right as we look across, so it would suit his outswingers to bowl from the other end. But anyway, he's bowling to Brathwaite, and in he goes to bowl the first ball. It swings away a little, and Brathwaite allows that to go by outside the off stump. West Indies replying to 369, England having lost 6 for 111 this morning. Stuart Broad made an excellent 62, and he's answered my next question, which was going to be who would take the new ball along with Anderson, and he's doing lots of stretching there at mid-on, so it looks as if Stuart Broad, well, the old partnership will be restored anyway, with Archer therefore presumably coming on first change. Anderson bowls to the right-handed Brathwaite, who again gets the balls a little too wide to play, and that's collected by Buttler behind the stumps. And Carlos Brathwaite, no relation, I don't think. I've asked you that question before. I don't think you're are you relation? No, not at all.
No relation. Funny enough is I think 4 professional sportsmen, all with the name Brathwaite, and I don't think any of us are related. Craig Brathwaite and myself, Carlos Brathwaite in cricket, Shane Brathwaite, a hurdler, and Ryan Brathwaite, a world champion in hurling as well. I don't think any of us are related.
There you go. Well, here's Craig anyway with 3 slips and a gully. Anderson, we can see the orange soles of his boots, bowls an in-swinger, and Brathwaite comes forward and plays it up to mid-on, and certainly a breeze-assisted in-swinger there, but I was a bit surprised he got bowled from the other end, but he's had choice, and that's the one he wanted. He's got his black headband on, and there's no one knows more about this sort of bowling than James Anderson, so I'm not going to quibble with him, but it is a breeze that literally going left to right across the ground, and he polishes the ball. Brathwaite over his bat. It looks to be batting on about off stump from here. So I suspect making sure he doesn't nibble at anything that he doesn't have to. And Anderson bowls to an outswinger that he has to play at this time. And Archer fields from wide mid-off. Root applauds in the slips. 3 of them and the gully. It's point. Archer's quite wide at 2. He's more at extra cover really than mid-off. Stuart Broad is at mid-on. There's a square leg and a fine leg. So the last time these two have opened the bowling together, did they open the bowling at Cape Town? And I presume they did. And Anderson broke down. There's so many illnesses and so on kicking around, but I'm not quite sure what was going on that day. In goes Anderson again, bowls outside the off stump. And Brathwaite very watchfully allows that to go through. Collected by Buttler, who rather missed out today. It is opportunity there to score 100. But he took his overnight score to 56. Pope didn't add anything to his 91. He was dropped once, a very straightforward catch to Cornwall at slip. And then in the next over he was bowled by Gabriel. So he also rather missed out there. Anderson dips his head, runs in smoothly, bowls another in-swinger, and Brathwaite's away, turning out into the leg side. Fielded at mid-wicket, and that's the end of the over. So 1 for no wicket. A little bit of gentle movement there. Nothing I don't think that Brathwaite will report is too alarming to Campbell, who has been denied the strike, so he'll have to wait a little longer before he faces his first ball. Stuart Broad might have heard there in the distance the sound of some Velcro being undone and then refastened, and that actually was Stuart Broad's boots, which he did right beside the pitch microphone there. Just picked it up. So he's going to bowl from the Pavilion end, renamed of course as the James Anderson end. Wickets to his name, and of course he got most of those wickets down at that far end in the last match.
They did indeed open together in Cape Town, but I think, if I've read the stats right, the last time that they were both available to bowl in the match in which they played together and didn't open was back in 2016 at the Oval. There was the match last year when Anderson wasn't on the pitch in the second inning, so Woakes took the new ball.
Right.
So that's generally when they've played, they've always opened the bowling together.
Well, that's great that they're reunited, because there's been lots of talk about England not playing both of them in the same side. But here they are, Anderson from this end, and now Stuart Broad from the Anderson end, bowling to Craig Brathwaite. In he comes and bowls to him. Oh, there's one that lifted as appeal for leg before wicket. It's a very hard sound. And it seemed to climb on the right-hander. Maybe the hard sound that we heard was a thigh pad or something like that, because an appeal for leg before wicket
Yeah, either thigh pad or inside edge.
certainly squared him up. Looking at the all-telling replay. Oh, yes, it sort of thumped into the top part of his pad. Make a hard sound, but that would have gone down to miss the leg stump.
Some movement there though. Obviously Broad is more off the seam, Jimmy Anderson more through the air, but that was prodigious movement in.
3 slips crouching as he bowls, and Brathwaite allows that to pass by outside his off stump. So 3 slips and a gully. It's the same field really that Anderson had. It's a backward point. Wokes is at wide mid-off. Extra cover really. Anderson's quite straight at mid-on. There's a backward square leg and a man out of our sight, but inevitably I suspect it's Archer down there at fine leg. So below the camera gantry as we look down from the 3rd floor of the media centre. 1 for no wicket in reply to England's 369. Broad on his way. Bowls, and Brathwaite gets a thick inside edge to this. Runs away into the leg side, fielded by Pope. And England, I would think, if they're honest, will say, well, we probably fell 100 runs short. I know it's disappointing for the West Indies because they took 4 for 22 and were all over England at that stage.
I would beg to differ. I would say that was about par.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they were behind the 8 ball. They had a good partnership in the middle. They lost a few wickets this morning, had another good partnership. Just the ebbs and flow, and I think 350 scores are better for Test cricket than your 460s and 470s.
Here's Broad with a headband on. Bowls and it's edged and taken at first slip. And Brathwaite's out. Broad strikes in his first over. Very neatly taken, nice straightforward catch. And West Indies are 1 for 1. They've got to be careful because they just lost the initiative during Broad's innings. The heads dropping, there were some misfields and so on. And they've got to be careful here just to make sure that they don't run aground in this innings. Root clutching the ball. He didn't take it cleanly, but he's clutched it to his chest. And then was able to secure the catch. So disappointment for Brathwaite. He's out already. And West Indies, a little worryingly, are 1 for 1.
Yeah, that first ball jagged back, hit him on the pad, and I think he's played at every ball since. That one just straightened or held its line, and he really didn't need to play at it, but on the evidence of that first ball, the massive seam movement back in, I guess he felt compelled to play. And that's what Stuart Broad gives.
Yeah.
That is Stuart Broad. Good area, good length, a bit off the seam. And this is a big innings for Shea Hope, his Test career, and for West Indies, middle order batting plans.
Do you think he really is on the knife edge, is he?
Yeah, he is. It's only so long that obviously Jason backed him, and that was good to hear. I've sent him some personal messages of encouragement because I don't think he's out of form. He's been middling the ball beautifully. He just hasn't gotten a score. But when you think about the players that aren't here, I don't think Bravo can get into the team at their strongest with the performances from this tour. But Hetmeyer would be a dead cert to jump in ahead of Shea Hope on current form. So it's important for him. He is here. He has a chance to get 100, get a big score and cement his place.
Such a great start. He's averaging only 26 now.
Yeah.
That's not enough for someone batting in the position that he is.
I mean, you think about the persons, and Bono would have had to watch 3 tests. You got 2 guys about to come back in, and for any other person who wants to go at Test cricket to watch someone ahead of you not performing as well as they should, it would be kind of unfair to the persons waiting in the wings as well.
Well, he can play. We all know that. But he's coming now with a lot of pressure on. 3 slips gully. They're now putting a short leg in as well. And Broad from the far end. Hope slightly open in his stance. Waits for Broad, who runs in, bowls to. He's hit on the pad, appeal for leg before wicket. Broad wants it. The umpire says no. And it's down to Joe Root now to decide whether or not that's worth reviewing. Broad suggesting with his hand gestures that it was probably going to have gone down the leg side. But a worrying moment there. I think Hope's heart was in his mouth.
Yeah, I've heard someone refer to Ollie Pope batting at 3 and Ian Bell, and how Ian Bell had to go down the order to find his feet. I just think Shea Hope is better at 4 or 5. It seems so insignificant, the shift, but he's in, second over, ball's going to be moving around. He has to curb that attacking intent and instinct. Just find it a lot easier for him down the order.
Broad bowls, he's back in the crease, and there's inside edge there, with the short leg waiting to gobble it up, but the ball went to ground. And that's the end of Broad's first over, and he's on it today, that's for sure. Runs in the bank, and it just frees you up as a bowler, doesn't it? If you know you've got something there behind you, and you can just run in and bowl, and he's going to be dangerous today. Oliver Carthew has sent us an email. So that interview with Peter O'Toole was fantastic. I had the pleasure of meeting him and his young son Lorcan when he called into my aunt's house in the west of Ireland one summer. Didn't know what to say to such a legend. And then someone said I was a huge cricket fan, and we chatted about cricket for quite a while. Funny, gentle man. And I know that interview has gone down really well with all of you. But, great to hear. Great to hear John was chortling away as well. Yeah, really nice. So Radio Gold, and there's more of it up there on BBC Sounds. Now, Anderson is going to bowl. Campbell hasn't faced a ball yet. And he's going to come round the wicket at him with 3 slips and a gully. Left-handed, of course. In goes Anderson. Bowls to him, is forward, nicely forward too. A nice smooth defensive stroke, sending the ball through extra cover. Broad's in pursuit. And with that obvious white headband on, a big knot at the back of it. It's tempting to go up that and just trim it off a bit with a pair of scissors.
Tell you what though, this is a big knock for John Campbell as well. Touted as the next Chris Gayle at under 19 level. He's a lot more polished now, and he's done some good stuff in his short career. But with Joshua De Silva getting 100, and I just think it's not a knife edge for John Campbell as yet, but it'll be whispers.
Anderson bowls to him, and back he goes into the crease, wants a single, and he'll get it as well. There's a big gap there. Best coming up from point. Tosses the ball to Broad, who smears some sweat onto it. He'll get about polishing it on his trousers. Anderson's gone for the big black headband. Again, mopping his brow. Almost snood territory, I'd describe Anderson's. We've got the king of the snoods behind us, Andy Zaltzman. There's a number of snoods he's unveiled over the last few days. Anderson's is almost that size. Jet black. He runs in rather menacingly and bowls to Hope outside the off stump. There's no stroke from the right-hander. But you can hear the fielders liked it. Lots of well-bowled jimmies and that sort of thing. As Anderson walks back towards us again. 4 for 1, the West Indies. They've lost Brathwaite to a catch at slip by Root in Broad's first over. He was out for 1. That's in reply to England's 369. And Hope again is right across on that off stump. In fact, from here we can't see any of the wickets. As Anderson runs in, bowls it, beats him, groping outside the off stump. They always bat like that. Always bat over so far on the off stump, but they're trying really hard not to get lured into playing at something that they shouldn't.
Yeah, I think that's it. Because I saw a comparison with him batting elsewhere in the world, and he was over to middle stump.
Right.
But in England, a few of the boys have done it actually.
Yeah.
Probably a Steve Smith-esque.
Yes.
He did that quite well.
Absolutely. He didn't start there though. It's a huge jump. Anderson bowls and beats him again. Lovely ball. I don't think it did very much. It's just that probing line and length that Anderson has grooved to perfection.
Is it putting the bowling machine at 75, 80 and just putting it on two swing, a slight angle, and it just darts in and shapes away nicely. And the best thing you could do for those previous 2 balls is what Shea did, missed them.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's your day, you do. If it's Jimmy's day, you don't. And he goes again. Bowls, and that's played rather across the pad, quite firmly. And Broad's able to field at mid-on. He'll keep it because he's going to bowl the next over. West Indies 4 for 1. Tense times for them. Carlos will say something interesting, I'm sure, while I make room for Simon Mann.
Pressure's on now, Aggers. Just massive innings for these two. The West Indies would hope that it's in a partnership. But out of the batting unit, everyone has kind of gotten starts, and the three guys that are in decent form, Blackwood, Brooks, Craig Brathwaite, who they've lost already. And it's important for these two guys to get a score on the board, bat some time, not only for their personal careers, but more importantly, this test match and the series. I think they would have wanted England for a lot less than 365, but the game is in the balance, and it's their chance to make themselves known.
Good afternoon. Here's Campbell on strike to Broad, coming in round the wicket from the Jimmy Anderson end. Campbell covers up, sets off for a single. It's not there. Goes to Dominic Bess at backward point. And the loud shout of no in our effects microphone, that came from a desperate Shea Hope at the non-striker's end there, thinking, what on earth's going on?
Last thing you want is a run out.
It was sort of in that Root territory, although the Root was a bit finer in the first innings. And he was running through for the non-striker's end. That brilliant piece of fielding from Roston Chase. 4 for 1 West Indies.
It actually could be a good mode though, both of them getting the blood flowing, getting the muscles warm, and just taking over the strike, left hand, right hand, difficult to contend with. So it may be a good plan or ploy to just drop and run.
Yeah, certainly keep that board moving. Broad bowls, Campbell covers up, hits that away to square leg. And there is no run. The field for Broad to Campbell. He's so good against left-handers, Stuart Broad, because he takes it, angles it in, and takes them away, takes the ball away from them. 3 slips in the gully. And there's a backward point and mid-off. There's a short mid-wicket. Chris Wokes is in there blowing on his hands at short mid-wicket, and a forward square leg as well. And then Jofra Archer down on his own at fine leg with no one for company, no one behind him. Here is Broad. Arms pumping, goes in, bowls to Campbell, straight ball, and Campbell pushes this up to mid-on, and normally there would be no run, gentle push to mid-on, but there is no mid-on. So Wokes has to chase it back halfway to the old pavilion. Campbell gets 2, Campbell to 5, and West Indies to 6 for 1. There's that, shout from all the fielders. To me, it does look like a straight ball. He's pushed it into the onside.
I was thinking, well played, middle of the bat.
Yeah.
Straight lines, and you've got 2, and everyone just acting as though they hooped.
Yeah. Broad back to his mark by a pile of sawdust. Past umpire Gough, bowls to Campbell, and Campbell lets that go. Good leave from Campbell. And it's past the off stump. It's quite close to it.
Simon, that was the one that you hold your head and that was close.
Campbell allowing it to go, and they let him know it as well, that it was close to that off stump, but Campbell perhaps as much leaving that on length as line. Campbell settles. Tense situation for West Indies. Broad bowls, Campbell again plays through mid-on, and another chase for Wokes. Talk about the batsman getting the blood flowing. The same for Chris Wokes, just to chase back towards the long-on boundary again, and they're through for 2 more for a gentle push from Campbell. Takes him to 7, and West Indies move to 8 for 1, and they notionally need 170 to avoid being asked to follow on.
I really hope that doesn't come into the equation, Simon. No reason it should. The pitches look good all along, nothing dramatic, nothing special. Obviously a world-class bowling attack, but the batters need to hold a hand up. They should be getting 300, to be fair. Should be getting up to 300 and then challenging that 365.
Mid-on is in now. Square leg has come round to mid-wicket. Broad bowls to Campbell. Campbell is forward, pushing away into the offside, and he runs with the stroke. That was a good call. Bess had some ground to make to his left-hand side, and Campbell's keen. He's pinching the bowling at the end of the over. He's on 8, and West Indies 9 for 1. The man out, Brathwaite, the adhesive Brathwaite, caught by Root. That slip wasn't the most convincing catch by Root. It's one of those where you clutch it to your chest.
He motioned that kind of rose a bit after it nicked, and then it was on a path, and then it rose a bit, and he kind of caught it in the heel and sandwiched it into the chest. You caught it in the end, that's the most important.
Yeah, that's all that counts. It's a bit like whether you leave or play, isn't it? If you leave it and it misses the stumps, then that's fine.
Fantastic. They either left that one on line or left that one on length. If it crashes into the stump, then all of a sudden it's a bad shot.
It's going to
Poor
be
judgment.
Anderson, he's not bowling from his own end, he's bowling from the Statham end, which is the media centre end. So he's running away from us. Past umpire Kettleborough, bowls to Campbell, across Campbell. Campbell leaves it, lines that one nicely. And it thumps into Butler's gloves. I mean, in theory, quite good bowling conditions this afternoon. Pitch is okay, but good bowling conditions. It's overcast, the lights are on, there's a breeze. Quite a stiff breeze going from left to right as Anderson looks at it. Over Campbell, the left-hander's right shoulder. Out to point. Taking the ball away from the left-hander as far as Anderson is concerned, taking it back into the right-hander. Anderson to Campbell, and Campbell offers the full face, playing it gently up towards Archer at mid-on. 9 for 1. Is this the first time Archer's played for England and not taken the new ball? In the first innings, I mean. I think in the second innings it might well have happened.
I'll check for you. I've interesting quirky Stuart Broad stat for you about taking wickets in the first overs of innings. I'll wait for after this ball, Simon.
Okay,
So
all
I
right.
thought he was about... I can't see the bowler at the end of his run.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I was so excited, waiting for it. Here's Anderson bowling, and Campbell covering it up and playing into the offside, into a gap, and picks up 2 more. Just pushing, really. Campbell not playing anything extravagant there, just dropping the bat on it, finding the gap. 11 for 1, Campbell to 10.
Sorry, by the way the batsman was, it looked like the bowler was imminently about to deliver. So
I forgot you
stepped
can't
back.
see from the back of the box. There's our social distancing. Andy's at the back of the box. And he struggles to see the pitch. He has got a monitor. I should say he can actually watch the cricket because he's got a monitor in front of him. 11 for 1. Campbell on 10. 3 slips and the gully go down. Anderson moves in and bowls to Campbell, and Campbell gets a straight ball and he blocks it, and he nearly gets a single there as well. Broad has to come round quickly from extra cover to mid-off to prevent it.
So the 4th time in 5 innings on this ground last year and this summer that Stuart Broad has struck in his first over. He got Campbell out in his first over in the second innings of the last test, and Warner out in the first innings, the first over of both innings in last year's Ashes test on this ground. He also got Warner out in the first over of the second innings at Headingley. So 5 times in his last 8 home innings he has struck in the first over he's bowled.
Anderson bowls, strikes Campbell on the pad, pitching outside leg stump, so no concerted appeal.
And he'd only taken a wicket 3 times out of the previous 50 home innings inside the first over. So he's obviously doing something right, particularly at Old Trafford with his first over.
What do you put that down to? It's the cricketing gods. Well, it might be. He's bowling to left-handers, actually. That can help as well, can't it? He's a very good bowler to left-handers. David Warner sick of the sight of him. Not that he saw him for very much last summer. Saw him just enough to nick off and head back to the pavilion. 11 for 1. Anderson full, edged and dropped. It's been dropped by Ben Stokes at second slip, and as slip catches go, that was a straightforward one, really. You'd expect to take those. And Stokes, who's not had a great catching record of late, puts down another one.
Yeah, that was straight in. It was harder to drop it than to take it, actually. Yeah, kind of dumbfounded. You would expect Stokes to gobble that one up. Trying to see if it did anything. His hands were in a funny position, though. More like the crocodile rather than your conventional English way of fingers down. Just strange.
Yeah, because you get a good sight of it as well. It wasn't a flashing stroke from Campbell. It was almost like slip catching practice where you angle the bat.
You get the slides from the court in the morning.
And you could see the edge, and there's no flashing bat or anything like that. And it went a reasonable height to Stokes, and he gesticulated in a really frustrated way there after dropping it. Broad goes in and bowls. New over to Hope. Hope dabs it into the offside. Goes to Wokes. So it goes to Wokes. Wokes has to make a bit of ground in from mid-off to pick up. And there is no run. Hope still yet to score in what's been a thin tour for him. Desperate for a score here to propel West Indies forward, get them back in the game after a real up and down morning. Up for an hour, down for an hour. 111 for 6 in the morning session. I suppose we said to the West Indies bowling out for 360 this morning. There's okay, yeah, not a bad trade-off. Broad bowls wide of off stump. Extravagant leave from Hope. So whipping the bat inside the line like a fencer there after the ball had gone through to Butler. But they had such a good start. They were looking at one point, 280, 290, and ended up being 369. Destructive partnership in Broad and Best. It's been Broad's day today. He's dominated with the bat, and he's also taken the only wicket to fall. He's got the pavilion behind him. Hope in his sights. Broad now bowls to Hope. Hope gets one outside the off stump, lets it go, and it's taken by Butler low down, away to his right hand side. Carlos has departed. John Campbell should have departed a few minutes ago. And Michael Vaughan is here.
Good afternoon, Simon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, this is vintage, isn't it? Broad and Anderson, bit of nibble off the pitch. Lights are on, clouds are around. Good luck as a batsman. Just got to catch them.
Broad looking to find the outside edge of Hope's bat. Goes in now and bowls to Hope. Slides one down the leg side. Hope is inside the line of it, trying to glance, misses it, taken by Butler. Yeah, Ben Stokes of late's not had a great catching record. I was making the point in Southampton that he's dropped quite a few of late, and some fairly straightforward ones as well, but I can't imagine there's been one as... I know they're never easy at slip, they go quickly, whatever, the edge is found and you're... But...
No, but if you're a second slip and you're there because you're a good catcher, that one was as easy as they come.
Yeah.
Knee height, didn't have to move.
Broad bowls, very wide. Shea Hope's off stump.
So I always used to say that, any slip catch is difficult, but that was for me, because I wasn't a great catcher. Now, if you're a good catcher and you're in the grabbers, I would say a good slip fielder would expect to take 95 out of 100 of those, probably 98. As easy as they come. It's seen all the way, the perfect angle from over the wicket. Anderson, exactly what you're expecting. He just grabbed at it, didn't he? Just snatched.
He bends down, Broad goes in, and Hope plays a flinching defensive shot off his body there, off his hip, down to Archer at fine leg, and Hope is away. That's his first run.
Yeah, just look at the West Indies. They've been very stubborn, haven't they, in this series with their kind of tactics, their mindset, bowling first, and sticking with Shea Hope at number 3. I haven't so far thought about changing the batting order just somewhat. Shamar Brooks has looked technically very strong at 4. Roshan Chase has played well at 5. Said before the game, I just wondered if they'd have thought about putting Shea Hope to 5 and just putting Brooks and Chase up to 3 and 4. Just give him a little bit more time, just a bit more space to potentially play his one-day way at number 5. Come up against the likes of Anderson and Broad in these conditions at number 3 when you're under a bit of pressure. Very difficult.
Just looking back on the series, he's been in early every time, hasn't he? I think just about. Here is Anderson bowling to Hope. Hope defends a straight ball back down the pitch.
But just look at that defence there. You just look at his stance show. His right shoulder is basically on show. He opens up that stance, and when he played that forward defence, it wasn't a left foot forward and nice balance. You can see him coming right round with that back shoulder, almost like pivoting. And if the ball just moves away from him slightly, you just feel like he's going to get squared up and the outside edge will be found. He's not in alignment. Look, he's aligning himself to wide mid-on with his feet.
He's not quite as wide open as Dom Sibley, but he has got an open stance, and Anderson bowls outside his off stump, back 5th stump there, and Hope lets it go.
But a lot of players have that. They do have wide stance in terms of their alignment. Before the ball's released, they have it, say, to mid-on and just wide. But as the ball's about to release, they have a trigger that moves them a little bit squarer to the target. If you watch Shea Hope, he actually doesn't do that. He stays quite open on the release of the ball, so you just know there's a bit of outshape. There's a great chance of the outside edge being found.
3 slips in the gully waiting for it. And Anderson goes in and bowls to Hope. And that's wide to Hope. Hope leaves it. Not really threatening him there. Taken by Butler.
And
Is
also, just again, what I'm trying to explain is that if you are open and the ball, you've got to be prepared for is the ball on around off stump. So you try and get your alignment and your trigger in a place so you can get closer to that line of the ball. Now, a ball on and around off stump just outside, because that left foot is so open, it's a long way to go again before you get yourself back into line. Everything has to be in sync to play a forward defence for Shea Hope.
Anderson bowls to Hope, and Hope gets the inner part of the bat on a defensive shot. It runs down fine towards fine leg. Butler gets there first before Wokes can pick up after rushing in. So one more to Hope takes him to 2, and it's 13 for 1. Now John Campbell comes down the strike. I take your point about West Indies have battled hard in this year. They haven't really given England very much, have they? They've made England work for everything. There have been just a couple of passages of play. I think yesterday afternoon, after tea yesterday, was the first time it just felt as though West Indies had sort of lost control. Really. And you say, well, they were under pressure in the last game, but they battled hard throughout the game to try to stay in it. Anderson to Campbell. Campbell defends, gets a single short of Broad in the offside. One more to the total.
Yeah, I just wonder with the West Indies whether do they ultimately believe. There has been situations in Manchester. You go back to the second Test match when they were batting in the first innings. 4 wickets down, they were 30 shy of the follow-on, and all of a sudden blowing away. They should really have got 330, 340 in that first innings. That would have saved them the Test match.
Done, yeah.
And you go back to this Test match, first 2 sessions yesterday, excellent at tea time. They came out just after, and they were so poor in that last session yesterday.
Anderson to Hope. Again, very wide from Anderson. Hope does not play, and that's the end of Anderson's over. Not much threat there from Anderson. Although his line just a bit off. 14 for 1. 7 overs have been bowled with a new ball. Anderson 4 overs, no wicket for 8. Campbell 11, Hope 2.
Yeah, I just wonder is the belief really in there that they can win a series like this? Because they've had chances. They've had chances in the second Test to make sure they get the draw, and they didn't take that. You know, you look at yesterday, they had a great chance just after tea, and they just switched off for a session, and it cost them a huge amount of runs. This morning again, 4 quick wickets, 280 for 8, and then the field spread and everything went a little bit AWOL for about 45 minutes to Stuart Broad, and that's, in my opinion, is going to cost them the Test match.
That short mid wickets in again for Campbell. Broad ran the wicket, bowls to Campbell. Campbell's forward, angling it away straight to Dom Bess at backward point, and there is no run. I mean, Broad can do that too. We've seen him do it every now and again. You're making the point about bowling top of off stump this morning. I suppose what they did lack this morning was just that extra pace bowler to come in after because the 2 main guys had bowled for about an hour, and they didn't have that firepower to come in and sort of subdue Stuart Broad.
Yeah, I just look at the tactical side of things. You know, Jimmy Anderson came in at number 11. The off spinners were on. They didn't have one fielder in front of him. They didn't have a silly point. They didn't have a short leg. They had 3 fielders on the onside boundary to Jimmy Anderson.
Broad to Campbell. Campbell covers up to a straight ball, runs up to Anderson. He's fielding it mid-off, and there is no run.
So what I'm trying to say, the West Indies, I think they have competed hard. They're a developing Test match team, but there's development, and then there's that belief that you have to install in yourself, and belief comes from really realising those key moments in a Test match, and you have to win them. If you're going to win the big series, you have to win those hours. And so far, as over the last couple of weeks in particular, they've just not managed to win those key hours.
Broad, arms pumping, goes in, bowls to Campbell, who tries to force that away, goes bouncing out to Bess at backward point, and there's no run.
Well, possibly a factor in this is their recent record in Test cricket, going back to after they won the first Test in England in 2000. In Tests against top 8 ranked teams away from home, West Indies have won just 4 out of 84 Tests, 17 draws, 62 losses. The win in Southampton was the 4th of those 4 wins against the top 8 sides in Test cricket. So they are a team that is not used to winning, particularly away from home.
No. Although they have picked up, 2 of those wins were against England, weren't they? Headingley and then Southampton. Broad bowls, and Campbell lets that go.
It's really hard to find that, though. I mean, it's dead easy for me to say you've got to win those hours. But as a team, it's
So what do you do as a catch? When Broad comes in, starts swinging, you know it's a freebie for Broad, because if he gets out, it's like, well, everyone else has got out, and that's the way he plays.
Simplify the game.
So you don't have that firepower because your 2 main bowlers have sort of bust a gut already to try and
Whether
make
you've
the
got
breakthroughs.
firepower or not, you've got to hit the stumps. You know, they had 3 balls from the seamers that were going to hit the stumps to Stuart Broad. The rest were wide, short, nice juicy half volley, wide of off stump. So they just didn't cover the basics well enough.
Broad to Campbell, gets him down the leg side. Campbell tries to turn it, misses, taken by Butler.
And a player like Broad can do that to you. You know, it can send your mind spinning when a player comes in swinging, because you think you've got to have a third man, a fine leg, a deep square, a deep point, mid off on the boundary, mid on the boundary. So you start spreading the field, and again, from my experience watching the game, and I did it a few times as captain, when someone would come out and whack it and you spread the field, you kind of sit in your hotel room, why not just simplify?
Yeah.
Just keep a simple field. All right, take a slip out, just try and get the ballers to hit the stumps.
Broad to Campbell. Campbell defends, goes for a quick single. Anderson rushes in, can't prevent it. And West Indies have run pretty well so far. They've not been flamboyant in their stroke making, but they haven't nudged it around.
You'll be pleased to see this time. Look at this, the England players are taking the sweaters off. It's too hot out there. Ben Stokes has taken the long sleever off. The short sleeve has been kept on. It's that kind of day in Manchester,
Yeah.
Simon. Hot.
It's another gorgeous day in Manchester. 15 for 1, Hope 2. Campbell has 12 more from Michael, and then it will be Daniel Norcross.
Yeah, Broad and Anderson just having a conversation. Broad with the white headband, Anderson with the black headband. They're bowling well enough to certainly get the second soon. Drop catch of Ben Stokes at second slip off Anderson over the wicket. He generally likes to go round the wicket, Anderson, to left hand as well. He's seen something in Campbell that is making him go over the wicket.
He's in now to the left-handed Campbell, and Campbell comes forward in defence, pushes up to Broad mid-off, and there is no run. Yeah, there's a little bit of a misconception, isn't there, about Stokes and dropping catches? Is that what you're about to talk
Yes,
about,
I
Andy?
have some numbers for you, Dan.
Crikey.
Since the start of last summer, Stokes, according to the CricViz data, has dropped 12 of 31 chances over the previous 2 years. So from the start of the 2017 summer to the end of the 2018-19 winter, he'd caught 32 out of 40. So he had 80% catch rate for 2 years, and then since the start of last summer, it's down to just over 60%.
I mean, he catches spectacular catches, but it doesn't mean he doesn't drop catches. Anderson is in again. Forward comes Campbell, pushes up to Archer at mid-on.
You could also
There's no run.
argue he puts himself in a position where he gets lots of chances. He's always in the game.
Yes, although
Well, he does have a
that one he couldn't really.
No.
At second sim, or whatever it was going to go to him, wasn't it?
He does have a habit of reminding me of how many catches I dropped in my career, so maybe I'll just give him a bit back.
I think you could,
Yes.
because that
I've
one
got those stats now to back up my argument.
That one was rather inexplicable, wasn't it, really? He was in a good position for it as Anderson is in once more, and that's again defended by Campbell, who's looking solid at the moment and pushes up to Archer. I wonder how long before we'll see him in the attack. Broad and Anderson have been at it now for... This is the 9th over of the West Indies innings. They're 15 for 1, having lost what we thought might be the key wicket of Craig Brathwaite, caught by Root. Didn't hold that very comfortably either, and Rakeem Cornwall dropped one at first slip. I don't know if there's something with the sight lines when there's no crowd whatsoever and huge sight screens at each end. Anderson once more cut nicely out in front of square, through the offside, out to the boundary for 4. It's a decent shot from Campbell, got on top of it and swatted it away. And for his troubles, he's being attacked by a wasp now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out Anderson coming over the wicket. I know he's had the outsiders dropped at second slip. You go back to Southampton, that first test match, he did from LBW around the wicket. And he was all over him for about 3 or 4 overs before that wicket. There was a couple of reviews that went against him. You could tell that Jimmy was starting to get a little bit flustered. And here at Old Trafford, he's decided to go over the wicket. Just checking the ball. Maybe it is out of shape, because it looks to me like it hasn't passed the test.
Well, I like this because it was as if Broad said, look, if someone's hitting Jimmy Anderson for 4, then that must be because there's something wrong with the ball. And can you see on that?
No, there's like a chunk.
Oh, there is.
been
Wow, there's a
taken
huge
out.
dent.
Yes.
And that's come from
Where's that come from?
ball hitting bat, because it's not hitting sponge that makes that. It's a really extraordinary dent in the ball right on the seam. I half wonder if that might... Yeah, it's completely misshapen the ball. So they will need another ball. This is going to take a bit of a while, and it needs to be a ball that's roughly 8.4 overs old. I think that will dismay him. Has it been moving around, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's been a pretty good ball, hasn't it? It's been seaming. There's been chances.
It's really odd.
David Milne, he's the fourth umpire. The quick bowler from Leicester. You always got your quota. You always knew that when you're facing David Milne, if he'd bowled you 5 up the top of the bat, you knew that the next one you might as well just sit on your bottom.
Oh, really?
Always, yeah, it'd always be over your head. Yeah, always got you 1 and over.
Was he quite
any
rapid?
Conditions, didn't matter what it was, you'd always get 1 at least.
Was he quite rapid?
It was quick enough. Yeah, it was quick enough. He charged in. Played for. I don't think he played for England. He played England A. Good bowler. Swung it away from the right-handers. Full, wholehearted trier. Charge in.
A sort
Look at
of-
his chest there. There he is.
Sort of Steve Kirby-ish.
Yeah, similar. He was. Steve is a wonderful character. He certainly got white line fever. Did Steve? He was a completely different character with ball in hand.
I've
He would
heard
take
this,
on the
yeah.
best. Take on the best. Steve Waugh, he gave Steve Waugh a volley when he was playing for Kent, I think he was at Headingley. Yeah, I don't think Steve Waugh took too lightly to Steve Kirby abusing him. We all found it quite amusing.
Well, you presumably, as the next delivery, he squeezes nearly through John Campbell's defences as he pushed at a full ball and got a thick inside edge. Down to long leg for another run. Moves up to 17. The West Indies 20 for 1 reply to England's all-out total of 369. And Anderson will be thinking that all of these runs are preposterous because Campbell should be out. As Stokes dropped a really regulation chance at slip that came through to him at knee height. Got both hands, it went straight to both of his hands and then it just plopped out. Just one of those things. 3 slips and a gully, cover point, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket and a long leg as Anderson runs into Hope, who defends from the crease solidly. Back up the wicket, Archer does the fielding. That is the end of the over, the 9th of the innings. I wonder if we'll see a change now at this end. Hope 2, Campbell 17, 20 for 1. Mark Clinch emails. Says, thank you for another wonderfully entertaining morning. My wife, Amanda, and I are listening from our home in Antigua. We try to watch all the live cricket when we're here, either at the Sir Viv Richards Stadium or at the Sticky Wicket. This year, we had hoped to be able to watch the series live on our return home, but COVID has delayed our return to the UK and, of course, resulted in closed doors. Anyway, just wanted you to know how much we value your broadcast as we sit sipping our coffee and eating toast over a long late breakfast today in Antigua. Was this sent to try us?
Yes.
Is that what you've done?
Are we meant to feel sorry for them?
Because I don't, quite frankly. Clinch. Broad is in, flicked away, down through deep backward square leg. Long leg runs round to field. It's Archer. He's herring after it. The batsman will come back for a second. 22 for 1. Campbell moves to 19. So if there are any more of you in paradise who would like to send us gloating emails about sun-dappled beaches and cocktails and coffee, do get in touch. The normal place, BBC, TMS, TMS at bbc.co.uk. It's not that difficult. You all know it. I just don't. Well, I do, but I keep getting all the letters in the wrong order. Or you can tweet us.
There's a sign. Jack Leach is taking the medicine ball round to Jofra Archer at fine leg to get loose.
Broad in again, played with an angled bat by Campbell, that foolish ball on off stump, and it's picked up at backward point.
Yeah, I
There's
must
no run.
explain. The medicine ball, you'd have seen them in gyms. They're like heavy, I don't know what kilograms that one would be, but he's kind of throwing it, kind of twisting and then throwing it back to Jack Leach to make sure his sides are nice and loose before he bowls. Not seen this before, where the 12th man has had to stroll round and catch a medicine ball.
It's the only sport in which this happens, isn't it? I mean, if you're a substitute in football, you're not expected to bring on drinks, are you? And, you know, give them impromptu neck massages. Broad in round the wicket to the left hand. Campbell drives away from his body, but well, effectively through extra cover and up to the boundary for 4. A handsome shot from Campbell. There's a big gap between point and mid-off. He went after it. And Broad has been given encouragement there by Anderson, who I think thinks that he's very happy to see Campbell play slightly aerially, slightly away from his body, but he did get hold of it.
He was out playing that shot in the second innings just a few days ago. A big drive outside off stump 2, Stuart Broad, in the first over of the second innings. So I don't think Stuart Broad would be too disappointed with that. Looks like he's come out with the mindset to score, Campbell, a bit more aggressive.
I was going to say exactly that. I wondered if you had spotted that, whether he's so sick to death of getting out cheaply, he's not going to die wondering today. Broad in forward, though, in immaculate defence on this occasion, and Anderson has to make a good sprawling stop at mid-off because he'd moved slightly squarer to extra cover and had to make ground to stop that. There is no run. Is there a temptation sometimes, poor run of form, you think?
Well, there's two mindsets, Dan. You can go out there with a mindset of, I just want to just survive and be attritional and just give yourself a chance, but sometimes that can get you in negative positions. You know what Campbell's doing, he's basically saying, I'm going to stare at the ball, look to score, and so far he's got himself in better positions for it.
It's Broad again, and that's left alone quite expertly by Campbell as the ball flew over the top of off stump, I would say. It was angling into him from around the wicket and quite close to him, but I think he left it on length, and that is passed not that far over off stump.
Yeah, you can generally leave the ball here at Old Trafford on length because you do get that bit more bounce. Graham Thorpe used to play in a similar fashion. If he'd had 2 or 3 low scores, he'd try and get to 20 quickly, get his feet going. Darren Lehman, he'd go out swinging.
It's often a quick starter though, wasn't he?
Steve Waugh used to do it as well.
Broad in once more, and that's driven off the inside half of the bat by Campbell. Another full ball on off stump. He gets it up to Wokes at mid-on, and that's the end of the over. The 10th of the innings, 26 for 1, the West Indies. Hope 2, Campbell 23. Campbell, who's had a life already. And I wonder how long it's going to be. Well, Anderson has taken the sweater off, so he's going to bowl another over. Gary Guja has come to gloat. I am the engineer on a private yacht.
Come on.
We are bathing in Chockno. I am the engineer of a private yacht. We are anchored off Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat, south coast of France, between Nice and Monaco.
It's very nice down there.
You sort of imagine Cubby Broccoli is on that boat, don't you? And various people in the sort of James Bond setup.
A private yacht. But it's got a chopper on the roof.
I bet it does, yeah.
Hot tub.
Yeah.
There'll be all sorts on there. Oh, come on, send us a picture. We want to see your yacht.
Yeah, there'd be sort of massage chairs and wall-to-wall sunshine and sweetmeats, delicious canapes and
Lovely fridge full of
ice-cold drinks. Yeah. Oh, no, it is Archer who's going to start. And first delivery is on off stump, pushed up to the offside. There's no run. I thought I saw Anderson removing his jumper and was going to continue, but no, Archer is into the attack. And of course he missed the second test of this series for well-documented reasons. Let's see how he's holding up here. He's got Broad and Anderson on either side of him at mid-on and mid-off. He's got 3 slips and a gully, a backward point, a mid-wicket and a long leg. I think it's Chris Wokes because he's doing stretches down there as well. We should see a double change. Archer in, and that's angling back in to Hope, who defends from the crease up to Broad. There's no run.
Yeah, Wokes has been given the nod. Skipper's just waved down to him to get loose. It looks like he'll be bowling the next over. Joe Root said pre-match that Archer had been bowling the speed of light in practice.
I'm always suspicious of these practice.
Well, I must admit, facing anyone in a net situation, in confined space, it always seems that much quicker.
Here he is again. And he's got an edge on that, and it lands just in front of Stokes at second slip. Did he get an edge or did it come off his pad? We'll have to have a little look at the replay. It felt a little edgy. He was trapped on the crease, was Hope. This is the angle that they've been deploying to Hope to try to jag that ball back into him, and that did just hold him. I think it's actually hit his hip. I don't know if he did get any bat at it, and Stokes diving forward, if it did hit the bat, all the pace came off it. I think that has just hit the hip.
Yeah, it was a brilliant leg cutter. You could see him just rolling his fingers down the side of the ball, the left side. So it kind of just seemed away from Hope.
Here he is again, Archer, and that again has Hope rather crabbily defending from the crease up to Broad at mid-on. There's no run. Here we go. Neil Williamson has been in touch. Thank you, Adam, for sending us all these. It's very kind of you. Listening to TMS sipping a mojito, I presume that is.
Oh, very nice. Very nice juice.
Listening to TMS next to the pool at the Emirates Palace Hotel in Abu Dhabi. Can't get home for the summer because of COVID. Oh dear. Archer in. And that's a short and flying away down to the boundary for 4. Wides, correctly signalled. Butler had no chance at all. It was banged in short and then flew down the leg side and high, crucially.
Yeah, but I like his paces in this over. It's been 85 miles an hour, 84 miles an hour, little seamers, and then that bounce was 89 miles an hour. So the surprise ball, the bounce, are just that little bit quicker. Skillful bowling. The Emirates Palace Hotel, I think it's the hotel, it's about 1.3 kilometres long. It's a long one, right along the beach. I'm sure it's the right one, but bang opposite, and it's the man-made beach. There's IKEA.
Really? Yeah. Archer in short again. That flies through, and Butler takes that with his fingers pointing skywards in front of his face.
I was once there a few years ago, and I'm pretty sure my dear old thing was there commentating. There's a little cricket ground at the hotel.
Henry Blofeld, if you're wondering. Yes.
Maybe Lashings 11, or there was some game there that he was.
Possible.
And I was in the hotel, and I thought I recognised that voice. I got on one of the little buggies, 1.3 kilometres long away, and there he was, my dear old thing, commentating on a game of cricket.
Yes, it must be terribly difficult to be trapped in that hotel, mustn't it, for the summer. Archer in again outside the off stump, shouldering arms. Is Hope. There's no run. End of the over. The first of Archer's spell, the 11th of the West Indies innings. They're 31 for 1. Hope has 2, Campbell 23, and Andy Zaltzman has informed me that there was a little edge. There was an edge off, thin edge onto hip in front of Stokes.
Yeah, there was a spike on the audio, according to the TV coverage.
Just Andy, I'd just like to let you know that WG is in a better state than I saw him yesterday. He had his head down yesterday. He's up, he's ready, he's had a good night's kip.
Well, he was anticipating an innings from Dom Sibley, and then the moment Stuart Broad came out, he was all eyes. Sorry, Dom. Chris Hickson has been in touch. He's sat on our terrace here in southwest France. Very lovely, Languedoc region. In the cool shade, as it's 31 degrees C outside. Thoroughly enjoying your broadcast as usual. The view from the terrace goes all the way to the Pyrenees, 200 yards away, maybe, with unbroken countryside in between, or 200 miles away, I imagine that is, with unbroken countryside in between. Might drop in the pool later when it's cold beer time. Oh, you have fun, Chris.
Sounds like he's doing it tough, Chris.
Yeah. But look, we're here watching cricket, so we're very fortunate. We're in a different kind of paradise. It may be a slightly grey one, it may be a slightly windy one, and the floodlights may be on, and there are no Pyrenees, but there are Pennines in the distance.
Well, yes, very similar. Not far off the temperature. What have we got?
Yeah.
16, 17?
16, 17, yeah, only 14 odd away.
Yeah,
And we've got some very picturesque cranes over there in the distance
That's
as Chris
apartments.
Wokes starts a new over to the left-handed Campbell, who defends from the crease, pushes out into the covers where Anderson does the fielding. So, there are all sorts of different paradises out there, and we're fortunate enough to be in this paradise.
We've had a private yacht.
Yeah, we've had
someone with a
the
nice place in the south of France with the pool having a beer.
Yeah, and don't forget Abu Dhabi.
Is anyone in Whitby?
Yes, indeed. Look, if you're in Whitby, give us a shout. Or Shetland. So Wokes is in, 3 slips and a gully, pulled at loosely by Campbell, and didn't get anything on that. It goes through to Butler, who fumbles it slightly, and there's no run. David Smith, this is more like it. I'm also enjoying your excellent commentary from my position on my knees in my kitchen in Lincoln. I'm cleaning out our fridge. It's a very satisfying thing to do. It's a very lockdown thing to do. I think I cleaned out our fridge in the first week of lockdown.
Does he mean actually physically cleaning or just eating everything in it?
I actually did a bit of both. I cleaned out 2 jars of lime pickle. That was quite spicy. As Wokes is in, that's worked off the hip to short mid-wicket. There is no run. 31 for 1. There's nothing more satisfying in life than an entirely clean salad drawer, I find. Andy.
You mentioned W.G. Grace, my knitted W.G. Grace mascot, made by my sister. He was the first batsman to face a ball of Test cricket bowling on this ground in 1884. for England against Australia. He opened the batting with Monkey Hornby.
Monkey?
Yes.
Hornby.
The first day was rained off completely. Manchester starting the tradition it
really?
intended to carry on with.
Wokes in once more, pulled again, this time firmly and beautifully through mid-wicket up towards the boundary. I've lost sight of it, but I'm assuming it's got into the boundary for 4. That was a wonderful shot, a swivel pull from the left-handed Campbell, who's been searching for runs in this series, but he's starting to find them today after getting that early life off the bowling of Anderson. He moves to 27. Phil Rule says, I'm currently sitting in driving rain, this is more like it, in a traffic jam on the M25 to Heathrow Airport. Would you please ask all those selling themselves in various places around the world to be quiet? Some of us are trying to work.
What job he's doing?
Yeah. M25 watcher. A drive from Campbell to extra cover. There's no runs. He's just going to monitor traffic jams.
He's obviously just sending emails.
Yeah.
The first wicket in Test cricket at Old Trafford was Monkey Hornby stumped for a duck. It's not what you want from your opening batsman, is it? Yeah, it's one of only 4 openers to be stumped for a duck.
Stumped for a duck?
In the history of Test cricket. Well, 4 occasions.
Who was the bowler?
And what kind of test match was it back in those days? Was it a
3-day?
3-day. So yeah, he
They'd
wanted
lost
to
the
get
ball.
on with it. Lost the first day. Captain said, "Get on with it from ball 1."
He was the captain.
Monkey Horn was the captain.
Yeah. Wokes in. Worked again by Campbell. He wants a run, and he's going to get a run as Broad's a little deep at mid-on. The throw comes in, not an ideal one for Butler. And that means that at the end of that over, Campbell will keep the strike. He has 28 from 38. He's not with stump for a duck, but he's shown a similar kind of intent. Shea Hope has 2 from 24. Altogether, not the same intent. And the West Indies, after 12 overs, are 36 for 1. The man to go, Craig Brathwaite, who was caught uncomfortably really by Root, but he did pouch it for 1, and England very much on top of that stage. They've created chances, not all of them have been taken. This is after they were bowled out earlier today for 369, have been resumed on 258 for 4. Pope gone for 91, not adding to his overnight score. Butler 67. England in trouble when they lost 4 wickets for next to nothing early on, but then a spectacular, magnificent innings from Stuart Broad.
Dan, that's lovely summarisation of it. I'm not interested. I'm more interested in Monkey. Give me more information
Yes,
about
go for it.
Monkey, please.
Yeah.
I want to know his stats, who he is,
Hey, well,
where
I'll
he's
tell you
come
what.
from, who is he?
He played.
I'll tell you what. I can leave while you do. It's not that I'm not interested in Monkey Hornby, but I can allow the next commentator to come in. So, Andy, you fire away, and then Isha Guha can take over from me.
Oh, he was a Lancashire legend. Played 437 first-class games, 16,000 runs, 1600s, quite good for the 19th century. But only 3 tests, 21 runs, averaged 3.5. But yeah, stumped.
How did he get the captaincy?
Different times then.
They give it to anyone, don't they?
Well, the first time Test cricket was played on this ground, England bowled out for 95. And Monkey Hornby, as we said, set the example as skipper, stumped for naught. There's only been 3 other examples of an opener being stumped for naught in Test cricket. Kieran Powell, who we saw on West Indies' last tour here, was stumped in Bangladesh for a duck. And a chap called Louis Tancred, twice stumped for a duck as opener for South Africa before the First World War. So, different times. Cricket was a different game then.
Right, Isha, I'll leave you with the monkey chap.
He had a mighty fine moustache as well, Monkey Hornby.
What have I walked into? As drinks have been taken here at Old Trafford. 36 for 1 then. The West Indies, it's going to be a double change as Phil Tufnell will come in place of Michael Vaughan. Hope on 2, Campbell on 28, having been dropped on 10 by Ben Stokes. A regulation catch really, just down to his right. Popped in, popped out. And with every boundary he scores, Ben Stokes is kicking himself. Not entirely sure whether he can bowl in this innings with that niggle. So Joe Root will be relying on his other 4 seamers. 3 of them are in congregation at the moment. James Anderson, Stuart Broad and Jofra Archer, as a big breeze blows across the ground. And Jofra will continue from the Brian Statham end. So what a fascinating day we've had already. England with a bit of a collapse this morning. 4 wickets for 14. Kemal Roach was bowling beautifully, 4 for 72 for him. Shannon Gabriel 2 for 77, and also in some really good rhythm and getting those speeds up there once more. before Stuart Broad entertained us all with a quick fire 50. And England getting themselves past 350, 369 on the board for England in their first innings. All right, Tuffers.
All right, yes, a bad moment to pop a bowled sweet in my mouth, so I just had to get that right.
I did
Had to
wonder
get
what
rid
it
of
was.
that. Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, afternoon, everyone. Afternoon, Isha.
Yes.
Now, I just got to clear up about your games night quickly
Yes.
because you got it slightly wrong, didn't you? Come on. That strange game that you said, which you claimed
I'm blaming autocorrect.
was called what?
Yes.
You claimed it was what? Go on, what?
No,
Which happening?
which happening?
Yes, which
That's
of
what
course
I thought it was.
I then realised was Shove Halfpenny.
Oh, you've properly done me there, haven't you? Thanks for that.
You probably don't remember Shove
Thanks,
Halfpenny.
thanks for that, Phil.
Which happening?
Yeah. I had no idea what it was. As Archer comes running in now to Campbell, bowls full, who drives back to the bowler. Archer throws at the stumps. As Campbell shimmies to get out the way. He's looking aggressive here, Archer. He's got a smile on his face at the moment, but that first over getting up to 89 miles an hour.
Yep.
Yeah, Shove Halfpenny.
Yes.
So shoving a halfpenny,
Yeah.
that's where it originated from. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you wrote it down as which happening. I mean,
Autocorrect.
autocorrect
yeah.
was to blame,
Yeah.
of course.
A square leg.
Didn't know what you were talking
Heads
about.
out to the boundary. I don't think anyone did.
Oh, shit. Been on the...
Archer comes in now, bowls onto the hip of Campbell, who turns that out to deep backward square. He's just been sent out there. A throw comes in from Ollie Pope. Position down there. 37 for 1, the West Indies. Campbell to 29.
He's had a rest, doesn't he, Archer? So he should be straining at the leash, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
Raring to go. Even though it's a bit cold, I just went outside there. It's a bit cold for sort of fast bowling. Everyone's got jumpers on. Not particularly swinging, and that breeze has got a little chill to it as well, so...
Here he comes again, Archer, to Hope, who
Westward
beats the
ball.
edge through to Butler. Carlos Brathwaite described him as the wounded tiger,
Yes.
with a point to prove. A lot of people would have read his column in the lead up to this game, and I think just getting everything off his chest, having been stuck in that room for 5 days, and we were questioning whether he was in the right mindset, and shows here that he's desperate to prove a point as he comes in again. Hope down the leg side, he's taken. Is he?
Ooh.
Butler throws the ball up in the air. Richard Kettleborough unmoved. And there was a noise as it came through, but whether it was bat or not, they haven't gone for a review, England.
Butler seemed pretty confident,
Yeah.
didn't he? As soon as it went past around sort of like armpit height down the leg side. Ooh. Might have been thigh pad. There was definitely some deviation as it went past.
I think maybe off the his
Yeah.
waist,
Bit of hip action.
as Hope sets up still in his crease, forward and defence to Archer.
Ben Stokes would be kicking himself, then he just felt England were on a bit of a roll there, weren't you?
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Let's have a look here. No, bit of jumperage. You just felt that England were really gonna look to kind of blow West Indies, that sort of tired looking West Indies, especially after that good partnership between Bess and Broad. If they'd have got him and then a couple of fresh ones at the crease, fresh batsmen at the crease.
Archer bowls, Hope defends. Archer wearing a white tubey grip on his right arm, like a bionic arm. That is the end of the over. 37 for 1 then, the West Indies. Hope on 2 and Campbell on 29. I did get some messages through about, because I asked for some suggestions for games night tomorrow night.
Oh, right, jolly good.
Cricket on a dartboard. Any score over, say, 30 equals runs.
Yeah.
And the opposing bowling darts team needs to hit bullseye or 25 to take wickets.
Oh, that might be good fun.
I like the idea of that.
Yeah, I like that as well. Have we got to be careful with darts though and everything, or sanitise them, or gloves and stuff?
Vector of disease.
Well, it might be, mightn't it? Perhaps bring your own darts.
Yeah.
I haven't actually got any on me. Not the first thing I put in my bag to come to Old Trafford. My darts.
Do we have a shove halfpenny board then? Or even a witch halfpenny board?
Yeah, a witch halfpenny.
halfpenny.
A witch halfpenny. Well, there must be something we could adapt. You can always do it on the table tennis table, couldn't you? Shove halfpenny. Lovely.
Wokes continues from the James Anderson end, coming in on an angle to Campbell, who struck on the belly, I think that was. He came through his shot quite quickly.
There's a beautiful shove halfpenny track in a royal palace somewhere. I did it for the one show. It's like massively long, you know, it's sort of like, I don't know, like 50 foot long, made of beautiful sort of oak and everything like that. And they had these massive gold sort of crowns that George, you know, Edward the First or something used to whop along there. Yeah, lovely. You haven't got one of those.
Campbell back and across. Defending past Wokes down to mid-off, where there is no one position. Stuart Broad comes around from mid-on. Sent back is Campbell for the second, as Broad retrieves the ball. And Campbell moves to 30, 38 for 1.
Might have even been sort of Henry VIII might have had a go at it or something. I can't quite remember. But it was a beautiful piece of wood. Oh, all that, what's it, patina. All those years of hands on it and everything. Had a go on it. It's good.
Henry VIII had a pretty good life, didn't he? Just playing games, drinking, feasts.
Seemed to have a good time.
Swiping down on his Tinder dates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to see the modern day Henry VIII.
No. I don't know why Chris Wokes was bowling this end. Bowled beautifully this end, didn't he? The other end in the second test match.
Wokes, who's sporting a beard, he bowls outside the off stump, Hope leaves.
And I don't know why James Anderson didn't open at his end with the breeze.
He doesn't actually like bowling from his end, I don't
Doesn't
think.
he?
No.
Well, with that, I mean, there's the old flags are fluttering along, and
I think it's because Stuart Broad wanted that end and Anderson was happy to step aside.
Yeah. Did you
It's
see them
interesting, isn't
changing their jumpers, sharing their jumpers?
Oh, were they?
Wasn't it sweet? It was quite sweet. They've known each other very well, haven't they?
Yeah.
There's a few wickets in that jumper.
As Wokes bowls again outside the off stump, allows it to pass, does Hope. So, yeah, I've had quite a few...
Yes, I like that
recommendations,
one,
right, so
Nish.
you
Yeah,
like
that sounds a goodie.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Dwyle flunking.
What are you on about now? Are you sure you've read that
Ellie... Andy's nodding his head, he knows what it is.
Oh, okay. While flunking. Go on then.
Ellie Pebbs is messaging, I haven't played it, but personally looks like good fun.
Well, what is it?
Wokes circles at the top of his mark. Bowls, Hope pushes to mid-on, no run.
I think this is the second time Dwyle flonking's been sent in from someone this series, isn't it? Yeah. Which statistically is a record number of mentions of Dwyle flonking in a single test series on Test Match Special. It's an East Anglian pub sport involving two teams taking a turn to dance around while the other attempts to avoid a beer-soaked cloth or Dwyle thrown by the non-dancing
I
team.
like the sound of this.
No.
No?
No.
Don't fancy that.
I don't want to get it all over my clothes.
Don't want to relive your Strictly days as Wokes bowls, Hope punches that back to the bowler at the end of the over. A good one from Wokes. 38 for 1. And trailing by 331 the West Indies, Hope on 2 and Campbell on 30.
Might give that one a miss.
Okay.
It does sound like the police raided what was a fight, and then they made up an excuse that it was in fact a sport, as they were hurling beer-soaked objects at each other.
Yeah.
We don't know.
No, we'll give that one a miss.
What else have we got here? Subject and object. Here we go. This is from Lady Auntie Kathy on Twitter, right? 2 people go out the room and think of famous people, e.g. the Queen.
Reasonably famous.
And an object associated with that person, e.g. Crown.
Yes.
As Archer bowls now to Campbell, who clips that out to deep backward square, coming forward as he plays it. Goes to 31. The score now for the West Indies, 39 for 1. Then go back into the room and others have to guess who or what they are by questions. Whoever guesses right is next to be the subject object. It's a bit like 20 questions, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Well, that could be a goer.
I'm just wondering how we're going to get all these props, that's all.
Well, no, you just think about them, don't you?
No, but I think you need to have the prop with you.
What? Well, you
As-
don't come in with the crown and say, what prop have I got?
As
Surely.
Hope guides that past a diving gully down to the third man boundary where there is no one out there, and it now goes into the rope. So Hope picks up his first boundary, goes to 6.43 for 1.
I don't think have you not quite grasped that?
No, that's right. That's what she was saying. You need to have.
No, so I come in and I don't tell you what I am or what my prop is. Otherwise, you'll just, if I came in and went, you know, holding a crown and dressed up as the Queen, you'll go, is it the Queen and the crown?
But no, but you can be the Queen and then use the crown as like a clue.
Yes, but you have to imagine.
No?
You have to imagine the crown,
Okay.
surely. Otherwise, the props would be endless.
Archer bowls full. Hope pushes that back to him as just pulls his hand away, Archer, having taken that ball. And stung a little bit, I think. He just gives it a bit of a shine on the back of his trousers. He's having regular conversations with Stuart Broad at the moment, bowling from the Brian Statham end, and his length's full to start with. He bowled a couple of short balls in his first over as he now comes in again. Settled on a length here to Hope, who's playing out in front of him and defending to mid-on.
I reckon it's going to come down to snap, isn't it? At the end of that, it's going to be. Let's play snap.
I like the idea of snap. Or double.
Oh, what a great game. Why can't we get some of that? I can't believe you haven't, this is from Mike Cottrell, I can't believe you haven't mentioned How's That? Or Owl's That? The cricket board game. Happy memories of caravan holidays with a cricket mad dad in Cornwall and the rain. Oh,
Archer is through his action, Hope on the back foot, push into the offside. Sends Campbell back, who was eager to come through for a single.
I remember those days as well. I used to make up some great teams as well. Pick up, imaginary teams as well. You could put whoever you wanted in. Mickey Mouse opening the batting with Henry VIII. As well as cricketers.
Was Mickey Mouse a decent bat?
He left very well outside.
Yeah,
off.
okay. Yeah. I suppose it just hit Henry VIII.
Yeah, no, happy days.
Archer pushes away, he hustles in, bowls, and Hope defends to the offside again. No run.
Played well, Campbell, hasn't he?
He has, apart
he-
from that one that he
Yeah.
pushed out.
A little bit of luck,
stump.
hasn't he? Every time he's sort of poked out during this series, he's managed to get caught, hasn't he? But he's got that little bit of luck, and he's actually looking quite decent.
He navigated that tricky phase initially.
Yeah.
43 for 1 in the West Indies after 15 overs. Still a breeze blowing here at Old Trafford. Lots of cloud cover. Lights are on. But we haven't seen loads of movement for the last sort of 5 or 6 overs. Adam Cook, we used to play cricket as a car journey game on our regular trips from Cardiff to Wells to visit my dad's parents. I can't remember the details, but it involved spotting pub signs. I like the sound of this. I think that runs were scored by spotting pub signs that depicted legs, humans and or animals. But this was the 70s, and I can't remember. Perhaps other listeners played something similar.
Yeah, I like the sound of that as well on a long journey.
Wokes into Campbell, who drives
Yes.
past cover, mid-off. James Anderson coming around to his right to dive and stop the ball. They come through for 1. Campbell to 32, 44 for 1.
I have to give it some thought.
Something that keeps everyone involved,
Yes.
because there's a few of us,
Yeah, there is.
but also, keeps everyone at a distance.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I want to stick to pairs. So you pair up with someone, and then as Wokes bowls on the hips of Hope, plays that to mid-wicket.
All right.
Throw comes in, no run. So I think we might have to split you and Vorney up.
Oh,
Sorry, just for one night.
We're not going to line people up against the wall and humiliate someone. It's the grand tradition of British sport.
Wokes bowls, Hope drives
ooh, close.
to extra cover, no run. He's looking a little bit more comfortable at the crease here, Hope. Pressure on him in this test match. Just a top score
Yeah, he hasn't got many, has he?
of 25.
Yeah, it's so much better than that. I don't know whether number 3 is his spot, you know.
I think he prefers batting at number 4.
Yeah, or even a little bit further down.
Yeah.
He's a very expressive player, great one-day record.
Did he get that 100 at Headingley at 4 or 5?
Not sure.
Footmarks developing at the James Anderson end as Chris Wokes now runs into them. Bowls to Hope, who's back and playing it to mid-wicket, the back foot. Again, no run.
In the first innings of the Headingley Test, in which he scored his only 200s, he was batting at 5, but they'd used Devendra Bishu as a night watchman, so he was listed to bat at 4 and batted 4 in the second innings when he made his second and to date final Test 100.
Spins the bat in his hand as he now sets up open stance to Wokes, who shuffles forwards, running towards us. Bowls. Hope drives to mid-on, no run. Davey and Derbyshire keep the game simple. Try playing hide and seek. Oops, you are in a bubble though, so you're going to have to be extremely inventive. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if that's going to work, if I'm honest. There's too many of us.
Yeah.
I reckon there's about 15, 20.
Oh, is it that many of our
Yeah,
happy little gang?
yeah. This square leg has just gone out into the boundary. Works past the umpire. Hope
Shot.
drives firmly to Anderson, who takes the ball and then does a roll as he comes through. End of the over then. 44 for 1, trailing by 325 the West Indies. Hope on 6, Campbell on 32. A few words from you, Tuffers, and then it will be Jonathan Agnew.
Might be time for a bit of spin, I think. They've got all bases covered with this attack. Left-hander, Campbell. Shea Hope has been dismissed, I think, by Bess on 1 or 2 occasions. So I think Archer and spin at Bess at one end could be a nice little combination. John, afternoon.
You're looking very relaxed there, Fred.
Yeah, I am.
You're reclining, leaning back, almost going over the back of the chair.
Yes.
Anyway,
That's
yeah,
nice,
good afternoon, everybody. And still no rain today, which is fantastic, and nothing showing to be on the way either. It's still cloudy, but my, haven't we been lucky? And the forecast a couple of days ago looked dire. In fact, Louise, yesterday on the weather forecast, said almost that today was going to be almost right off. So it's changed. Here's Archer bowling on the off stumps, pushed off the front foot by Campbell down to Broad. Is wearing a big sun hat, or doesn't really need it, there at mid-off. The floodlight pylons have woken up again. Lights beaming down.
Chilly, though, isn't it?
It is. But you'd settle for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, those flags, they're really blowing.
Some of the players wearing long sleeve sweaters, including Broad at mid-off. Archer runs up, bowls, and that's pushed by Campbell firmly off the front foot, and again Broad is the fielder. He's had a good day today. Runs his first half century for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And a wicket in his first over.
I think he's now gone past the amount of runs his father got for
Oh, I see. That's interesting
England.
stuff.
Which might be brought up at tea time.
Yes, because his father's here watching us match ref, isn't he? 44 for 1 is the score. And Archer runs in very smoothly and bowls outside the off stump on a full length. And Campbell, apart from that one little blemish outside the off stump, has played he's played very well, but thoughtfully. He's reined in his naturally aggressive tendencies. 47 balls he's facing. Hope has just, well, he's weighed anchor, isn't he? 6 from 42 balls, and 4 of those 6 came from one shot. Broad gives the ball a rub. So does Archer on the back of his trousers, and straight into that Easy approach. He runs in now and bowls. Oh, I hope was trying to leave that. Nice diving save in the gully from Burns, but he was actually withdrawing the bat there, and Archer's having a little word with him there. And, Campbell's smiling behind the grill of his helmet. That's what he was saying there, but I think there are friendly enough words exchanged. And the players have been warned to be nice to each other, haven't they? Because everyone can hear and
Oh, right, yes. Well,
hear on the pitch mics.
very wise. They do pick up a lot.
There's a bit of everything. I was
Yeah.
amazed that they actually picked up Stuart Broad's Velcro on his boots as he undid them and did them up again. Archer bowls on off stump, nice ball, but very well played by
Yeah.
Campbell again.
Yeah.
And Archer's followed through a little bit further once more, just to get a bit of eye contact with the batsman, but he's not engaging at all. But,
Yeah, very solid.
very solid indeed. Broad again, the fielder at mid-off. Just had a word with my sous chef for tonight. So things coming on nicely.
Is he?
The only problem is it's got to wait until 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's a bit late. Archer bowls, and that's caught, is it? Yes, it is. He's fended off a ball from just short of a length. It bounced, and Campbell couldn't control his defensive jab, and he's been caught in the gully by Burns. Good, quick, hostile ball up into the chest. A bit of extra bounce, and whether or not that little bantery word a couple of balls ago had anything to do with it, I don't know, but Campbell definitely unsettled there. Took a hand off the bat handle, but the ball thumped into the splice, the shoulder of the bat, and spooned up a very easy catch for Burns to take in the gully. So, well, that's the biggest smile that Archer's had on his face here for a while, and well done him. He's had a pretty miserable experience all round. But back amongst the wickets again, and West Indies are 44 for 2.
And that is exactly what Jofra Archer gives you, doesn't it? That bounce from, and it was a short of a length, but just kept climbing on Campbell. He thought he was just going to stand up and just sort of like knock it down or round the corner. It just kept coming up at him. As you say, got the shoulder of the bat. Really good delivery, pacey. And just kicked up. Might have been a cross seamer or something like that. But yeah, good wicket. And on sort of flat pitches, that's pace, isn't it, for you? That's what we've always been saying about the likes of Archer and Wood. Handy to have in the armoury. Makes things happen when things just go a bit flat.
Just take you by surprise, even when you're in, and he was playing so well.
Yeah.
But it just seemed to come back at him a little bit as well. He was just had nowhere to go. And it all happened so quickly, of course. Just half a second or so, and that's all you've got. So Shamar Brooks is the new batsman. I've liked the look of Brooks. I must say he's got some experience. Obviously, he's been around a long time, but he does play beautifully straight.
Yeah.
He's having a word with Hope.
I think they might shelve the spin idea now.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that you might see a bit of Don Bess to Campbell. Being an opener, they don't particularly play it great, do they, openers? But he's been very good, hasn't he, Brooks, against Bess through the offside and driving.
Wokes is ready to go up at the far end. That was the last ball of Archer's over. So in comes Wokes, sporting a beard these days, and he bowls on middle and leg. It's turned away for certainly one by Hope. In fact, that's all we're going to have because Bess has got there. In fact, it's Pope there who fielded that one, and they take 1 run, 45 for 2. Bess is at point, in fact, with hands thrust deep into his pockets, with his cap on.
Well, Stokes will be happy about that. After
Yes.
dropping it on about, what was it, 10 or 15?
Yeah.
He was looking pretty well set.
So Brooks's first ball then is 3 slips a gully, and Wokes on his way. That springy run, he bowls and beats him. Butler dropped that, but I don't think he edged it. Although everyone went up, I think they went up just through excitement. But inexplicably, Butler's put that down. He's got a rueful look on his face. I don't think he edged this.
Hope not.
No, I hope not for his sake. No, he didn't.
No.
That, but it just dipped a bit, I think.
Yeah, and the one that Joe Root caught, the Brathwaite, he got that in the sort of wrists.
Yeah.
And sort of clung on
That seemed to go up, that
Yes,
one.
and then he actually said that it sort of wobbled at him, but up. So there's obviously something weird happening out there.
Wokes bowls, and forward comes Brooks and plays up to Broad at mid-off. Well, it's the same theory is swing bowling when you're bowling it. I mean, if the ball goes through to the wicket, it will slip with the seam in a solid position, maybe horizontal, as it were, to the ground. And the shiny side, the rough side, is going to
Wobble.
Yeah, it is.
I think Dowrich might have experienced that a little bit for the first time, because it does seem to happen more often
There's
in
a
England.
wobbling there. In goes Wokes, bowls wide of the off stump, and Butler clings onto that as he moves in front of Root. He gets to work on the ball there at first slip.
You just pray as a wicketkeeper that, as you say, you don't manage to get a little fine edge on it, because that would look a bit silly, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Straightforward one like that.
So sorry about 9 o'clock, but it all comes down to social distancing again. So to get everybody
Well, that's right.
to enjoy the banquet at the same time.
Oh, we'll have some nice pre-dinner drinks, shall we? We're going to dress for the occasion, obviously.
Well, you'll have to do that.
Yeah.
I expect you to brush up. In comes Wokes, bowls outside the off stump, and no stroke from Brooks. So yeah, it'll be fun. And it'll be 3 quarters plus cheese. You'll be done by half midnight.
You build this up, mate. You've built it up.
Everyone's too competitive. That's the trouble. I think we're gonna. Which match are you in charge of, anyway? As far as
Last test match at the GS.
You're going to finish us all off,
Yes,
as it
I
were.
am, yeah.
Are you? Brilliant.
I'm working on it as we speak.
You got some plans?
Yes.
Tentative, just sort of.
Yes,
Any solids?
Here comes Wokes, bowls and beats the bat. Brooks prods forward, and it's the end of the over. This is the trouble with the bubble. People just know each other too well.
I've been on the phone to Gordon.
Oh, so you're going to know all these people, aren't you? I knew you would.
Perhaps you might rustle us up a little
You
something.
do. You know all these top chefs. That's cheating. You see, if you do something like that, they're going to call in someone like that. I think it's against the rules.
Delia on speed dial. Now Norwich have gone down. So.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Shouldn't be very happy about that.
No.
Vociferous supporter.
Yes.
No, we're not calling in outside help like that, Thomas.
Well,
There's
what
a
do
bit
you- well,
of imagination, a little bit of,
Okay, a little bit of craft.
Yes. Archer's on his way. Bowls on middle and leg. He's tucked away to square leg by Shea Hope, who's crawled to 7 from 44 balls, including 1 boundary in that. But, as Carlos Brathwaite was saying, he walked out to bat. There's a high-pressure innings, this, for Hope. He's certainly digging in as if his career depends upon it. 45 for 2. So West Indies 324 behind. It's been an eventful day. Archer kicks up his heels, bowls over the wicket. Oh, it's a poor shot from Hope. That was just a get-out shot. It was quite wide of the off stump. No need to play at it. Oh, a hapless swish of the bat. The ball ended up in Butler's gloves. Archer walks back. Looking up on the screen at something. I don't think they're showing a replay there, but there's only really one scoreboard that's being used here at the moment, because let's face it, it's only the players who need it, and us. Archer wearing 22. He's on his way to the right-handed Hope, who comes forward, just close to the face of the bat rather. Broad stops out of the second attempt at mid-on. Victor's back looking thoughtful.
I'm just thinking I wouldn't like to face Archer, because you get 2 or 3 overs where he bowls well, on target, good pace, but you kind of can play him, and then suddenly that ball comes.
Yeah, it does. It does. Off he goes once more. Bowles, Hope's behind it, playing down to mid-on again. Broad's been kept busy in the field at the moment, be it at mid-off or mid-on. Shows that Archer's bowling a very nice line. But his pace does vary, doesn't it? And there is that
But it also
rocket there.
And when it's so well directed too.
Yeah.
Campbell really didn't do that much wrong.
No.
It just surprised him.
He's such a rhythmical bowler that
You can't see it coming too, because he ambles
I
in.
think it just clicks and comes out. And other times it doesn't quite. He'll bowl 83, 84 mile-an-hour balls. Off he goes again, bowls a bouncer. He's fizzing over Hope's head. I think the energy and the effort is always more or less the same. But because he's so rhythmical,
When it clicks.
Sometimes it just absolutely clicks to perfection. That's when you get to that thunderbolt. And other times it isn't quite right, so it's 83, 84 sometimes. And it's not because he's bowling a deliberately slower ball. He does do that, and that's in the 70s. But it's all about rhythm with Archer, this very short approach, which he just starts straight away into he glides in. He goes again now, bowls a fuller length. That's pushed away down through mid-off. Chase for Anderson there as it runs towards the boundary. We'll take 2 more, 47 for 2, 19 overs gone. So West Indies are 322 runs behind. At T, I'm just being told here on my screen, we're going to have a world premiere. Sounds exciting. You may remember 2 music teaching sisters, Anna and Sarah Wilby, who started writing Full Tosca, the TMS opera. Well, it's now being completed, and we'll hear the Agas aria at T. So who's actually performing that? Are they performing it? Okay, this is exciting. They're not live, no. Well, Victor.
Well, it's only 25 minutes.
Is it?
To wait.
Well, I wonder who's performing there. Wokes starts a new over on his way, bowls. Oh, my word, that just went past the outside edge as Brooks pushed forward at him. Perfect delivery, really. Just a little bit of a wave movement, and now Brooks is giving the pitch a thoughtful prod. It was the seam. It was absolutely perfect as it went down there. Tanisha Bowles got a cunning arm ball. He didn't take a wicket, but I enjoyed watching. He bowled a couple of them. It was Cornwall. Did you spot that?
Yeah.
It seems completely different. It's quite quick.
Yeah.
But
Jimmy
he bowled
Anderson
a couple.
just managed to
He
cut
did,
one off his
yeah.
stumps. Didn't he?
It's a really good ball. Wokes bowls, and that's turned away to square leg and take a single, so Brooks is off the mark. Much to his relief, I'm sure. 48 for 2. But it's like the old-fashioned arm ball.
Yeah, that actually swings.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Embry used to bowl a good one of those, and Deadly.
Right.
You ever been bowled by Deadly's arm ball? I was looking to cut. I just cut him before. I thought, who is this chap under me? And I was told by my captain, said, don't try and do that again. Well, of course I did.
Yes.
Clunk. Whizzed through the gate.
Wonderful bowler. Wokes bowls, pushed away by Hope. Off the front foot again, a defensive shot with not much foot movement, to be honest, but just that weight going forward. Broadwood picks the ball up, and that he's rubbing on his jumper.
I mean, getting back to Archer, the exasperating thing that people who aren't fast bowlers don't understand is that, he bowls that killer delivery. Well, why don't you bowl like that all the time? And of course, I understand that it's not as simple as that.
No. Wokes again, bowls outside the off stump. No stroke from Hope. No, it's just doing everything, all those microseconds of movement, the whole body activity, and then particularly, I think, the wrist. The whole thing just clicks. Everything works absolutely.
And, well, for you, it would have been also a question of one day it's just swinging beautifully late.
Yeah.
And then the next day you're trying to do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's gone barrel straight.
Wokes again, bowls, and some nice stroke. Driven hard, I hope, but straight to mid-on. Well, there's so much to a bowling action, isn't there? There's so much going on, whether you're a spinner or a quick bowler. But the fast bowler's got to coordinate everything in such a fraction of time.
So the message to captains is the comment from mid-off of just bowl 90 miles an hour, will you, is not helpful.
Not really. I was telling someone earlier on today about Andy Roberts, a bit of a fallout with a Hampshire player.
Right.
Of some repute, actually. There's Wokes bowling, and a lovely shot now from Hope. Straight drive, Broad's in pursuit, but he won't stop that. A perfect straight drive between bowler and mid-off. That'll make Hope feel much better, I'm sure. 13 not out. 52 for 2. 317 runs behind. Yes, I think this particular individual used to rather wind up Andy in that way. And Andy didn't like that very much. So when Andy came to play with us, this particular batsman came out looking like Michelin Man, because he knew what was coming. A lot of padding. Andy rather had him in his sights. You've written a name down. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Anyway, Victor,
And he bowled quite quickly then.
He bowled very
He could find that 90 miles an hour.
he didn't need any revving up for that's for sure. I'll just do this one ball. Simon has just arrived, so we've got a changeover to do. So I'll just do this ball, and then Simon can bustle in. 52 for 2. I'm just having a conversation with Broad as it happens, smiling about something. And now he's going to bowl to Brooks, who's 1 not out. 3 slips go down. And the gully, Archer moves in, bowls for me, works out nicely off his hip, down to long leg. They take a single. Victor, some thoughts for you, and then Simon's coming here.
Yeah, he's annoyed too, Archer. He's bowled nicely. Again, he's got the wicket. But he's slightly annoyed with himself. He's got the new batsman up his end, and he's kind of given them an easy one off the hip. So he's no longer got the new batsman at his end. Hope, it is a big... He's played well, Hope, but he's really struggled to score. He's just hit a beautiful off-drive off Woakes. He's looked high quality, but he hasn't got the runs to show it yet.
Archer moves into bowl to Shea Hope, and Hope clips that away. That's a nice looking shot. 4 to square for runs 2, possibly 3. Chase out towards the deep forward square leg boundary. It's hauled in, and the return is on its way. They probably could have gone for 3 there. Only a risky one, but
It's a test match. With Bess.
And your point?
Well, I didn't think there was 3 there.
Oh, right.
If it was a T20, they might have gone for it.
And they would have got it. 55 for 2. Hope to 15. Just beginning to flourish, Hope. Signs that getting in now. He's given himself time. Archer moves into bowl to him short. He ducks underneath it, flies through to Butler. Keeping Hope honest there, even though he's around. Sent back John Campbell with a short ball. Campbell's quite a long way, I think, forward. He was batting outside his crease against Archer, so his back foot was ahead of the popping crease.
Well, Hope is doing the same.
Yeah.
And Hope has taken a big stride against Archer, which is, I mean, it's a good thing to do, I think, by and large. He ducked that well, actually. It was a quick ball. He got underneath it nicely.
Archer bowls to him, and Hope has to thread it through the offside. Is it too close to Anderson at mid-off, and there's no run?
I think they've been talking about that, because the West Indies, how have they been getting out? A lot of them have been getting out LBW stuck on the crease. And it's almost as if Hope and Campbell in particular have taken steps to try and avoid that mode of dismissal. Hope, even to Archer, is batting way out of his crease, and we've seen him get quite a long way forward.
55 for 2, Archer into bowl, very full, and he drives and misses at that one. I heard a noise, but it must have been the bat flicking the ground. He was groping for that one. It looked a nice tempting half volley, but Hope missed it. He comes down the pitch, it's a bit disconsolate there. He's like, oh, I've done all that hard work and I've nearly thrown it away. I think he just slightly lost balance as well, falling
Archer,
over a bit.
He looks full of beans, Archer. He knows that was close, but he's got a sort of that's life look on him.
How many more overs can he bowl in this spell? This is his 6th.
Well, you'd think this would be about it, wouldn't
Yeah.
you? But
So it might be his last ball of his spell. The ball's very full, and Hope drives, skewed drive, thickish outside edge, goes to backward point, and there is no run. Ollie Pope away to his left, stopping that. So 55 for 2. Archer's bowled 6 overs, a 1 for 16. Hope has 15. Brooks, who's shaped well in this series, especially in the last Test match, is there on 2, a couple of half centuries in that game. In fact, he's only had 1 outright failure so far in his 4 innings, out for naught at Southampton at 39, 68 and 62.
and we've got Anderson back. I mean, even they've almost got the old-fashioned West Indies attack of 4 specialist pace bowlers. So for a while, they can just use the rotor system. You know, it's almost as methodical as our producer's rotor. What's the time? Must be Anderson. But they've got that luxury at the moment. I'm sure maybe Bess will have an over just before tea, but I don't feel it didn't turn much this morning for the spinners.
Right, here's Anderson from his own end. Goes into bowl to Brooks, and Brooks plays that firmly into the onside, straight to mid-wicket. and there's no run. Of course, Clive Lloyd could rotate those West Indies fast bowlers back in the day, and one of the reasons he could do that was because there was no over-rate stipulation. You weren't supposed to bowl 90 overs, there were no fines around, so the over-rate wasn't great often, and you could just rotate them the whole time.
And they were a wonderful, whichever four he picked.
Yeah.
There was no respite.
No, it was relentless. Occasionally Viv would come on and your batsman's eyes would light up and hey presto, you get a wicket. Or occasionally Roger Harper played. Anderson with 3 slips in the gully, bowls to the right-handed Brooks, and Brooks gets a wide ball she leans forward to and then leaves and lets it go through to Jos Buttler.
Well, it's not quite the same pace in this England attack, but there is, you would have thought, scope for a sustaining pressure throughout. It's not as if you've got a sort of... Wokes has looked good in this series. Archer's just been bowling well, and then you've got Broad and Anderson. I do think in this series, Broad's bowled terrifically, but he's generally only struck with a new ball. We'll see how he gets on in the middle of an innings later.
Anderson bowls outside the off stump, nothing there from Brooks. Anderson was effective in the first innings at Southampton and then wicketless in the second innings, then didn't play in the last Test match. So it's a while since he's taken a wicket. 2 wicket takers, Broad and Archer, today. But he's changed ends. He's bowled from the Statham end to start with this afternoon, and now he's changed to the far end. It is the Jimmy Anderson end, but where is the sign that says Jimmy Anderson?
Underneath the clock.
Oh yeah, it's tiny, isn't it? You'd think they'd put something up a bit bigger.
I'm just trying to think. I think it's, my eyes aren't that great. I think it's James Anderson end.
Yeah,
on the
it does say that. Jimmy bowls outside the off stump. There's no straight from Brooks. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Bumble making the point about, at Bridgetown in Barbados, Kensington Oval, the ends there, the Greenwich and Haynes end, they're quite big letters, aren't they? You can see it. It's very definitely their end, and the Tony Cozier Pavilion end.
Yeah.
Or the Tony Cozier Media Centre end.
But it's gone now. Isn't it? It's the Marshall and Garner ends now.
So the Tony Cozier's gone, is it?
Well, I think the stand is there.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure
the name is
the Marshall, Markham Marshall end and Joel Garner end.
Anderson moves in and bowls, and Brooks covers up, runs it away into the offside, and there's no run. I was there last year, but of course I was at that end, so I couldn't see it.
Well, and then there is this wonderful, it's a lovely ground actually, isn't it? And there is, where we sit in the press box, it is the Cozier whatever stand, which incorporates his father, Tony's father, who was a doyen of journalism, sports journalism before Tony.
55 for 2, Anderson. Past umpire Goff, up to the stumps now and bowls. Again, a wider off stump. There's nothing from Brooks. It's through to Buttler. That's the end of Anderson's comeback over. He's bowled 6 overs for 13. He did have that catch dropped.
Yeah. And Anderson is mortal in that sense, in that, like every bowler that's ever lived, you kind of relax a bit when you get something in the wicket column. You don't strain. So he'll still bowl well, but he might have bowled even better if he'd had that wicket. Let's have a look now. It's a swap of ends actually for Wokes. Archer bowled 6 and a pretty good spell, got the wicket of Campbell, and now Wokes has been brought from the Anderson end to the Statham end.
Yeah, so he's bowled 5 overs 13. What have we got? We've got 10 minutes before tea, so he might have a couple of overs before tea.
Well, he would have had the option of swapping Wokes, which he's decided that's what he's going to do, or use Dom Bess. But I think he senses that the seamers are more dangerous.
I mean, here's a question for you, Victor. It seems outrageous, really. But do you think, after this ball, here's Wokes going into bowls to Shea Hope with 2 slips and a gully in, bowls, and that's hit very firmly back and stopped by Wokes off his own bowling, deflected past the stumps, then Broad dives and stops it. It was an excellent stroke from Hope, really hit hard, and a magnificent piece of fielding by Wokes to get down and half stop it. One of those that could have gone onto the stumps. I don't know if the non-striker Brooks was back in his ground or not. Difficult to tell from the angle I've just seen, but then Broad had to dive away to his left to stop it. So
I think on balance he'll settle for a dot. Wokes.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit greedy to go for a run out as well. 55 for 2. Wokes having a chat with Archer. He just wants Archer a bit straighter at mid-off, I think. Wokes turns. Off he goes again, and bowls to Hope. Hope plays defensively, firmly up towards Broad at mid-on, and there's no run. Yeah, the point I was going to make was, do you think, I know it's, that Sam Curran ultimately will be more effective in this match than Dom Bess?
I thought you were going to say Jack Leach.
So no spinner at all. I mean, just be. I know it seems quite boring, but relentless pace. Wokes bowls off the hip of Hope down towards fine leg. They've gone for 1. They're looking at 2. Throws on its way, right over the bails as well.
Well, do you know what I really
Anderson
think?
down there.
I mean, I take your point, but I think
I mean, it's a left field idea, but
no, it's not a ridiculous idea. Although, and then you've got Joe Root to bowl a bit of.
yeah.
But you'd never know. We could still be playing on Tuesday, trying to get. We will still be playing on Tuesday with the West Indies having to bat last. And if you're bluntly asking me, the more left field in a way is Leach rather than Bess.
Oh, to me, that's more logical.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
logical.
all right,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
But if you
No, well, I don't think I do.
here's Wokes bowling full driven towards Archer at mid off, and there's no run to Shamar Brooks, who's there on 2, 56 for 2.
I mean, it's a lovely dilemma to have, but I don't think the logic for me would be, although he's got his left arm, Curran, if Curran is at his most dangerous when the ball swings, but you've got Anderson, who knows how to swing the ball. You've got Wokes, who can get the ball to swing. They're the two swingier bowlers.
Wokes bowls, dabbed into the offside, a bit of hesitation initially, shy at the stumps, the non-striker's end is wide. If it had hit there from Ollie Pope, I think we would have been upstairs. I'm not saying it was definitely out, but there was hesitation in the running. He swooped there, Pope, but did not hit the stumps. He was backed up by Broad. And it stays at 57 for 2. You can see the replay now. This will give us a better indication whether that was. No, I think it might well have been, if it hit the stumps.
Yeah, it was a long way off. But.
Yeah.
So that's my answer.
Yeah, I mean, Leach for Bess would have been a more obvious tactical change with a left arm bowler. Wokes bowl short, and that's hit in the air out towards deep square leg. There was a shout for a moment. England have 2 men back, but it was short of both of them. Anderson fielded, coming in from fine leg. And they go through for a single. 58 for 2 is the score. Hope has 17 and Brooks has 3.
My other thought, though, on those lines is that you were here and I was watching on telly, but I think the breeze was stronger in the last test. But there is a bit of a breeze now. And I think the puzzle for the captain is to find people who want to bowl from this end, the Brian Statham end. I think all the right arm seamers would prefer, probably, although maybe not Archer, I don't know, but they prefer to come in from the Jimmy Anderson end with the breeze going from right to left. Likewise, Dom Bess would prefer that as well. So both Curran and Leach, were they in either of them or both of them in the team, would actually prefer to bowl this end.
Yeah.
And that therefore resolves some of the dilemmas of the captain of trying to make the best use of all his bowlers. And when the breeze gets up, it really is quite significant for bowlers. If it's a light breeze, it doesn't matter so much. But if you're Wokes, for example, who's now coming in from the Statham end, and your main mode of trying to get people out is to find the outside edge with a bit of shape, you're going to struggle to do that sometimes when the breeze is against you. And likewise for the off spinner, wanting to get a little bit of drift and open up a gate, it's harder to do that with an off-to-leg breeze.
Anderson bowls. It's a nice drive from Hope, but straight at Sibley, who's in the covers. And there is no run. Just beginning to get into his work, Shea Hope.
Well, he's timed a fuse to the field. That was a beautiful shot there, but straight to extra cover. He's worked hard to get to 17. He's faced 63 balls. There's been 2 or 3 boundaries there as well, 2 boundaries.
And for those who are listening and saying, well, why would you need 5 seamers? That's ridiculous. You know, some people would say 4 seamers were too many, although it's worked for quite a few teams over the years, not least the West Indies, not least for England in 2005 against Australia. Anderson bowls. Oh, it's a beauty, an absolute beauty. He's found the outside edge of Hope's bat, and Buttler takes the catch, and Anderson has his first wicket of the Test match. West Indies 58 for 3. Hope, who dug in, got a walk off, out for 17.
Well, it's going to be infuriating for him. He's worked really hard to get about 17, 20. It's a good delivery. It just goes away, I think, off the seam. Maybe it just swung a fraction and kept going. He pushed forward. Nice edge. Good catch. Moving to his right. He's happier down that end now, probably. They all want to bowl that end, I think. Or certainly Broad and maybe Broad and Anderson want to bowl down that end. But it's a big wicket. He batted well. He couldn't really make many inroads in terms of run scoring. He really tried to take, if you like, the brave way out of a rut, i.e. I'm going to bat time, I'm not going to go for flashy quick 30 and then hope for the best. But he's gone in classic manner. Good delivery. 58 for 3 and a nasty little, 5 minutes for
Roston
Chase, who's now just walking out, playing a few imaginary shots. He doesn't want to rush because he'd probably like this still to be, if possible, the last over before tea.
Yeah, 4 balls left in it.
Yeah, he's had a good series actually. He's had really worked hard this series, Chase, hasn't he?
I think all the West Indies players, I mean, England they've not given England anything. England have had to take it really from them.
Well, that was a case in point. There's no dismissal's great for a batsman, but that was quite a good dismissal if you're a batsman, in that you have got a ball that takes some combating. It's pitched on a length. It's just left him a little bit. Maybe he was only half forward, I don't know, but it genuinely took the edge of a defensive bat.
Yeah. Just quickly to tie up that point about the 5 seamers, or people saying it's ridiculous playing 5 seamers. Of course, England did play 5 seamers when they won at the Wanderers.
Yeah.
Early this year, Broad, Curran, Wood, Wokes and Stokes, and they left out their spinner Bess, who'd been good in that series in South Africa, and they thought that's fine, that's all we need for the Wanderers.
Well, the Wanderers, of course,
bowlers.
has got pace, and the result justified the means.
And one thing about Shai Hope's, a point that Michael was making, is he does get his left leg sort of pointing down the pitch, so if the ball does move away from him, he's a candidate for nicking it, because he gets squared up.
Yeah, well, he was a bit there, certainly.
Right, here's Chase's first ball. Anderson goes in, bowls short, and Chase ducks underneath it. Chase wasn't expecting that from Anderson. Andy, you wanted to say something.
Just on Shai Hope, his 3 first innings this series, 16 off 64 balls, 25 off 71, and now 17 off 64. So he has been trying to dig in, but not able to go on with it. And that 25 is his highest score in his last 6 Test matches.
And that's the difference, isn't it? Probably in England, on the pitches here, the conditions, the lights are on, it's overcast. You give yourself some time, but you still are likely to get a good one that will leave you. Anderson bowls, and Chase holds the bat inside the line. It's through to Buttler. Perhaps at home, once you've seen off the hardest the new ball, you can begin to break free, and not much happens. The seamer doesn't come on, nip one away from you, and you've been batting for 60 balls.
And with this attack, there is the feeling, if you're batting, sometimes if you're out there, you think, well, I've only got to get through this spell and these 2 spells from the main bowlers, and things will lighten up. But actually, with this particular England attack, and it's a slightly unusual one, that bit of respite doesn't seem so obvious, because Wokes and Archer are not too bad.
Anderson bowls, and that one comes back to Roston Chase. He left it, and Buttler took it sort of behind middle stump, if you like, but it went past the batsman. It was outside the off stump, but just something for Chase to think about in this Anderson over. The one that came back a fraction after getting the ball to go away earlier in the over. England have reinforced the slip cord. There was also a leg slip in as well, or a leg gully really. 3 slips, a gully and a leg gully. England looking for another wicket before tea. They've got 3 in the afternoon session. Anderson moves in and bowls wide of off stump, and there is no run. It's the end of a wicket maiden from Jimmy Anderson. It's 58 for 3. I think we've got time for one more over before tea. West Indies are replying to England's 369, remember. So they still need to score 170 to avoid being asked to follow on.
We'll cross that bridge.
Yeah.
There's Jimmy Anderson has now taken 86 wickets.
He's
against
level
the
with
West
Fred,
Indies.
isn't he? Yeah.
He's level first with Fred. He's actually got them more cheaply than Fred Truman, by 1. But he took 22 matches rather than 18 to get there. Number 3 on the list was John Snow. And then another of our... They all TMS lot, really. Angus Fraser had 70 wickets against the West Indies.
Wokes goes in, bowls to Brooks. Brooks plays a rather loose drive at that. Goes into the offside, into a gap to the right of backward point, and he gets a single.
Angus Fraser got an awful lot of his at Trinidad in the space of a fortnight.
Yeah. There were a few 8-fers there, weren't there? There's certainly one.
I don't know. He played... We had back-to-back matches in Trinidad, didn't we, because of a cancellation of the game in Jamaica, I think. And England won one. They're both tight games.
Was that tour? Was it? Was that tour? Was it?
Well,
Andy will be on it.
We played back-to-back games in Trinidad. I think it was. There were 2 games when we. And where's Saltzman when I desperately need him? Well, he's just behind me. He's
59
behind me.
for 3. Wokes to Chase. Chase plays quietly in defence towards mid-off, and there is no run. Wokes has been tidy. Still looking for his first wicket. So Broad, Anderson, Archer have all struck so far.
There's 2 tests in Trinidad in the 1998 series. So one replaced the game that was cancelled due to the bad pitch. Fraser took 8 for 53 and 3 for 57 in the first of the 2, and then 5 for 40 and 4 for 40. So 20 wickets, average around about, under 10 in those 2 games.
Wokes bowls, and a guided edge from Chase. Stopped in the gully by Burns to his right.
And we all know that Angus was the most pragmatic fast bowler who didn't experiment at all. And to everyone's astonishment, he got someone out with a slower ball and caught mid-off or something in that match. We all flocked round to see whether he said no. I lost me run-up on the way up and I couldn't be bothered to stop, so I kept going.
That's the sort of soundbite you want from a sportsman, isn't it? Honesty. Wokes bowls outside the off stump. Quite wide, angling back in. Chase left it. So Chase has got 2 balls to survive here until the tea interval. And England with a firm grip on this game. It's a topsy-turvy sort of day. West Indies starting so well. We've had 9 wickets already in the day's play, and we've still got a session to go. A long session as well by the looks of it. 39 overs after tea, and that's one of the downsides of having the 4-seamers. You might not get all the overs in, especially with the light as well. The lights are on. It's overcast. Remember, we came off yesterday at 6:15. Wokes bowls. Chase blocks it, really putting the bat there and defending it out to mid-wicket. And there is no run. Hard to see. Difficult to see West Indies winning from here.
No, they'd take the draw from here if you offered it. We don't get many draws nowadays, but there is the prospect of a blank day, I think. It's fair to say. I know the forecast changes, but it doesn't look great for Monday.
Wokes last ball before tea, box full to Chase, who pushes it firmly to Archer at mid-off, and that is the end of the afternoon session, and the session has belonged to England. They've not been devastating this afternoon, but they have chipped away, and they'll be happy with their afternoon's work. They'll be happy with their second hour's work this morning as well. West Indies dominating that first hour, getting themselves right back in the game, but since then, since 280 for 8, England have been right in control of this test match, thanks to Stuart Broad, and then a collective effort from the bowlers. Broad involved in that, taking a wicket. Archer and Anderson with a wicket apiece as well. So England strolling off very slowly at tea, and West Indies have got all the problems after the interval.